It's the weekend rip.
Oh, it feels good, doesn't it, guys? Doesn't it feel good to be done with the week? I hope you're all as happy as I am to have paid the tax man. I'm just thrilled beyond belief to have finished it literally like 30 minutes ago and done my duty as an American. Uh and yeah, we've had quite the momentous week, haven't we? Everything's up. We got the spies up 5.6%, the Q's up 7.81, Bitcoin up almost 12%, and the VIX, no, not the Vapo Rub, baby, though I wish it was slathered on my chest like a baby, down 22%. I don't know what that meant. My co-host, in case you haven't noticed, is gone. Rumor has it he died, so we're scrambling to inform family members and loved ones. And in his stead today, we've got Shay Boloor. I hope I'm saying Shay. Am I saying your last name right?
No, dude, you nailed it. I don't know if someone prepped you for that, but you got it right first try.
No, I'm just a really good reader. I know how to read and use the power of phonetics. Boloor, Boloor, better known as Stock Savvy Shay on FinTwit and host of StockTwit's morning show Daily Rip Live. So they're saying that you are Emil's Persian capitalist cousin from the Valley. Is that?
Well, I'm just the only other dark person with dark features you guys know. So obviously I'm backfilling for Emil. A little insulty sound in the Valley, but I did grow up in Calabasas, which is technically a valley, I guess. But
Yeah, I would not even call that the Valley. Calabasas, no. That's I guess that's like the Valley to Malibu.
No, I mean,
Malibu
I
Valley.
think the Valley is considered Studio City to Calabasas technically. Like, trust me, like I have some boys who live in Studio City, and like when they go to the bungalow or Victorian, like, oh, I live in Studio City, everyone's like, you live in the Valley?
Ugh.
So yeah, it qualifies.
Yeah. Where do you live now?
Beverly Hills, West Hollywood area. Not by choice.
Very
My
nice. Very nice.
fiance loves.
We love Beverly Hills.
Yeah, she's a little bouged up with a 1920s Spanish townhouse. She's like, oh, it's so artsy. So like, she wears the pants in the relationship, so I have no say in where we live.
Oh man. Oh, what's that like to have a partner who loves you, huh?
I have a lot of free mental capital now because I don't have to decide anything. She does it for me.
Yeah. Oh boy. Here, just a moment, Connor. Can I get that blown up just a wee bit? So, boy, oh boy, we've got you. I don't know how you do it, Shay, because I'm a 6 a.m. guy here on the West Coast, and you are a 5 a.m. freak every single day. And I mean, I love stocks, but geez Louise, dude, you're making me look bad here. Tell us about that. You just love stocks that much, man, that you're up at 5 a.m. every day. You're working on weekends to do your due diligence on companies.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. It's weird. I mean, I'm a lifer on corporate strategy, digesting data for a narrative, so that obviously overlaps with stocks. I hate sleep. I've always hated sleep. I think it's boring. Like when I wake up, I'm like, thank God sleep is over with. So like, I'm
Jeez.
obviously like neurotic because of it, and like that's why I wake up at 3 a.m. every day. So like, I usually do 2 hours of prep work of stocks research before I even go on the Daily Rip show. So I am definitely a freak. I also sleep at 9 p.m. every night. So it's also I'm
Oh,
an
okay.
80-year-old trapped in a 31-year-old body.
Yeah, wow, 31. Wait, did you say you wake up at 2 a.m.?
3 a.m. Yeah.
3 a.m. Good God Almighty,
You want to
man.
hear something fucking wild too? Like,
What?
no alarm clock, body clock, every
Okay,
single
that's
morning.
psychotic. Okay, there's something wrong with you. Number one, and wow, geez, Louise, dude, you hate sleep. I'm the total opposite. I love it, and I do love stocks. I look forward to Monday every week. But good God, man, what's gee,
Wait, are you just not bored? Like it's the most boring thing you can do is sleep. You just I don't know, just I don't see the enjoyment. I don't see like the point of it. I'm all about
brother? You're unconscious. How is it boring if you're not there to experience the boredom of it?
I mean, I also don't remember my dreams, so maybe that's why I'm like, all right, well, that wasn't a good dream. That wasn't a bad dream. I'm just like, finally back to the IRL.
It sounds like you got bullied in your sleep as a kid or something. Like, did your siblings beat your body while you slept, so you just grew to hate it? Jesus.
I think it's like I don't know, if you guys are Persian, like your Persian dad is always so hard on you. Like, oh, you gotta be hyper efficient, hyper efficient. So like, I think my dad probably raised me of like, oh, you're wasting your time with sleep, do something better with your life, and it just like got me wired as a young age like that.
Is your dad a doctor or a dentist?
Uh, even worse, he's the prototypical just real estate developer, retired since I was born, like the Persian way.
Wow. Are you Jewish Persian or what, Christian?
No, dude, really unique. Buddhist. Both my parents are Buddhists, so
Oh,
yeah,
I
Buddhist with
did
no
not know
sleep.
that Buddhist Persians existed.
They really don't. I'm definitely a snowflake. And
Wow.
my fiance always tells me as well how much of a snowflake I am. So it just reiterates
Dang,
it.
man. And so you're kind of a mix between Emil and I. He's a boring dollar cost average guy and does not I mean, he doesn't know squat about trading itself, but from what I understand, you do a little bit of long term and short term, right?
Yeah. So I am all in on fourth industrial revolution. I can't even speak. I literally said the word just literally on Fox Business an hour ago, but fourth industrial revolution. Yeah, dude, I am risk on. I am 31 years old, no family, no kids, about to get married this year. This is the time to risk the biscuit. And I really do think that AI is one of those once in a lifetime thematics. Like, I want to be positioned as that. It's like, imagine when you're the dot-com era and like you can invest in the early stage of the internet. So, like, I truly believe that is what AI is. So, I want to be
Mm.
positioned accordingly. And then we're in a choppy year. Like, even though I'm a long-term investor, thematic investor, like you have to wear a trader's hat to get through this environment. Like the choppiness is freaking brutal. So you gotta learn how to hedge. When
Mm-hmm.
VIX is below 15, you gotta buy some protection for 6 months out while hedging is cheap. You gotta take some profit along the way if the environment is just super wonky. And right now, we have China and U.S. just go gaslighting each other. So you got to take some profits and be prepared for that dry powder when things shit hits the fan. And honestly, the VIX hit a 50, like that's shit hitting the fan. That's a black swan event. So like you got to have the dry powder to capitalize on that if you're a long-term investor.
Yeah, I'm very happy to say that when the VIX was that high, I was just very calm and I was like, okay, my 15 years of doing this, 12 to 15, however long it's been, I've lost count. I was like, all right, I know that if the market's going up, it's actually not in my best interest to just outright buy calls because they're still going to suffer from the premium melting
Hmm.
off due to the high VIX. So I was shorting in the money SPX puts, but being very skittish about it, just like 2 or 3 contracts at a time. But they were the ones that were going for like $150, $160, and man, I don't know about you, but during this last few weeks, I'm very proud of myself. I've been just like on it and been riding the wave perfectly. And you know what it's like when you feel like you're fully in the groove with the market, you're being very, very nimble. But then I kind of fell off on Monday and I was like, I feel like we're going to see at least 5,400 on the S&P this week. I should short some of those Friday puts. And I just didn't. And it's like the one thing even though I've been profitable all week, I get hung up on not being perfect in my trading. Like, do you deal with the same kind of shit too?
Well, it's a hurdle to get over. Like first off, hedging is you're supposed to lose your money. Like if you lose your money in hedging, like it's a good thing. That's the point of a hedge. But it takes a psychological hurdle to get past that. Like for me, even though you can lose 3K on a hedge and you're up like 15K in your portfolio, like fuck, like you're just thinking, I just lost 3K for no reason. I should have just like played a long game. But regarding like this environment, like when the VIX hit at 50, like my fiance tells me how much of a masochist I'm in investing because like I am grumpy when things are going well, and I'm
Hmm.
super excited when there's blood in the water because that's where the opportunity is, especially with a lot of the short-sighted momentum investors just like take the market down, they break when there's FUD that hits the print like this Terra 4 that's clearly a black swan that could be turned off with a switch on our negotiated deal, but like it's not as bad as COVID, and the VIX hit a COVID high from this. So I unleashed my capital at 18% cash position and went all the way down to 5%. But now, like this week, like I think a lot of people were like offsides like you on Monday because there was a new characteristic this week. This wasn't like the previous corrections.
Yeah. I I kind of disagree. I see. I don't know how to feel about whether or not this is worse than COVID because obviously I remember during COVID there was so much bear porn out there. Like
Hmm.
at the bottom, everybody, Bill Ackman famously crying on TV. and that I forgot his last name because he has me blocked on Twitter. Sven something. And Peter Schiff and all those guys were really taking a victory lap of like, yeah, we told you, you know, that this whole thing's a house of cards. It's one big Ponzi scheme. And I was definitely guilty at the time of consuming that stuff and just fully believing it and like going, oh my God, these guys are so right. We are in such unprecedented times. And then when we V bottomed and just rallied over the course of a couple months right back toward all-time highs, I was then like, oh, well, wait for the data. The data's gonna, when the data starts to hit from this slowdown, the reverberating effects throughout the entire supply chain and yada, 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 yada is gonna bring us right back down. Never did. And I wonder recently if the same thing is going to occur because I'm seeing a lot of those similar kind of takes from people who I fancy as being much smarter than myself as it pertains to supply chains and shipping and trucking numbers and stuff. They're posting all these long bear porn threads. I'm talking bears with huge, you know, just racks porn, that kind of porn. Sorry, but
Triple X bear porn. I get it.
Triple X totally full hole Pacific Northwest strip club style pornography, just bearing all, if you'll pardon the pun. But yeah, I look at that and I think the same thing. I'm like, is this the case? Is this just kind of a COVID 2.0 in that everybody's going to be thinking, oh, just wait for the data to even, because even if they were, from my understanding, even if they were to flip a switch and end the tariffs, the damage has been done and it's going to take a little while for the effects to really be seen. You've had the retail CEOs, Walmart, Target, a bunch of the other ones, I think Nike and just all these different CEOs are all saying, hey, not only are prices actually going to go up, but some of them are saying that shelves are going to be empty and that once that hits over the next couple months, it'll be a real rude awakening for the consumer and for the markets. But you don't seem to think that that's the case, do you?
No, I mean you're right. There's a psychological effect that's similar to COVID, and it's paralysis. Confidence is shot, especially when like, dude, you have Trump and Z just gaslighting each other. Like Trump can say something, someone in his panel can say something completely different hours later. Like you don't, it's whipsaw, like constant whipsaw. And if you're an enterprise C-suite, like my whole career has been prepping C-suite essentially in corporate strategy of like how to twist a narrative or how to, like during dark times, like how to function. Right now, if you have a CapEx plan, like you're not putting your foot on the gas pedal, you're taking it off, waiting until more data comes so you can know your sandbox of risk. That secondary effect or that second guessing spirals. It's not just that. It's then hiring freezes. Like you want to launch a new team for this new initiative. You're going to put on pause on that because the pieces on the board might change. You never know if tariffs are going to get escalated in a couple weeks. Like you just don't know the risk parameters. Another one is consumers. Like we're not idiots. Like you see the headlines like, oh, consumer goods can go up like 2x, 3x due to tariff wars. Like everyone front runs the worst case scenarios in their brain. Like it's not just the C-suite, it's also consumers. So that's second guessing just snowballs consistently, and you're seeing weak retail, weak discretionary spend because people want to anticipate the worst, and especially before all this high stakes poker game, like consumers are buying on credit already. So now like they don't even have the liquidity to maneuver around the situation, and that's why if this doesn't get this deal does, it's all east versus west. I don't care what EU says. I don't care what India says. Like that's where you have to focus on. That's what matters. Until that negotiation, like that finalized deal comes through, like I'm not full bulled up. Like I know that we've bounced, but we're still below the 200-day moving average. Like we're still in defense mode, and this could be a bull trap. It could be a lower high. This could be the balance of like, oh, it's maybe not as bad, but it's still not there, and we might hit a new low. You just don't know in those environments, and I think it's going to take time for confidence to build back up. Like just imagine if your girlfriend cheated on you, and like, oh, that's just the one time. That's just I just did that one time. Like, fine, you love her so much, you're gonna forgive her for a little, but like that trust, it's not gonna go a V-shaped recovery. It's gonna take some time. Right now, what Trump did, that broke a lot of trust in global trade policy. He just did. So essentially, Trump cheated on his girlfriend of the world on trade, and even if we go back to where it was before, like that trust, he crossed the line. So it's gonna take some time to build up, and it might take 3 3 months, 6 months, 2 years, who knows? But I don't think we're gonna hit an all-time high this year or anytime soon.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, I I like the analogy, very colorful. Trump, the idea of Trump cheating on a significant other is absolutely wild to me. Just cannot picture such a thing happening. He is a man of God, and I trust him with my life. But I also do think that there's something to be said for the fact that the market and everybody is now kind of so fatigued by these constant headlines that they just have a diminished effect. It's we've now grown accustomed already in the classic Trump style of just like, okay, we really just don't know what the hell's going on. He says one thing, China refutes it. He says another thing. Besant says one thing, Lutnick says one thing, and it just becomes noise all over again. It went from truly moving the markets to now kind of having significantly a significantly reduced effect. And yeah, I think that we're now in this place where the option flows are taking over, and that's actually a lot of smart people that I follow on FinTwit have been pointing out. You know, one of the things you want to look for is option flows as a sign that maybe a near-term bottom is in. And there's, I think I saw, God, like over $10 million worth of Apple puts getting sold, NVIDIA calls
A
getting
lot of
bought.
Amazon calls of 2027 this week too. Like there's people are front running these big tech. Like it's gonna recover.
Yeah, and so that's the thing that gives me pause and makes me think, okay, maybe I should slow down on re-entering into the, because I personally was buying into the June, I forgot what strike price, 530 SPY puts. I mean, just as the market closed, I went short some May 16th 5,600 puts on the SPX because they still have a lot of premium in those. Because yeah, I think. And a lot of people have been pointing out that this is kind of setting up similarly to 2008, where we kind of held up for the first half of the year. And then by September, October, we were down 40, 50%. So I personally kind of think that that's what's in store as that data does start to catch up. And maybe it is a lot worse than people thought. And yeah, the damage to global trust, like you said, Trump cheating on his global girlfriend. And you wrote a letter. You wrote an open letter to him that made the rounds. I think Bill Ackman himself actually quote tweeted it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, and it was funny. I also went on CNN to talk about it, and my great uncle, had no idea I turned into Stock Savvy Shy, and he's like, "That's my nephew. That's crazy." Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, especially on the right side, the Reds, uh, this is not what they signed up for. Like, I think he became a bit of a loose cannon. Like, there wasn't any specific reason on causing the world pain all at once. Like maybe
Yeah.
it feels like specific or strategic, like, oh, I'm gonna target this country then this country, not just peanut butter spread or create some kind of made up calculus on creating these tariffs. Like that was ridiculous. And also, he just like he's trying to punish China, but in order to punish China, which is an export, he all the exports in the world come from China. So the main reason to punish China is I'm gonna hurt everyone else around you so they don't buy your stuff anymore. So I'm gonna conflict pain on
Yeah.
the whole world. But he never really said that. All he did was just like this rhetoric that's very vague, and unfortunately market hates vagueness. They like clarity, and there was no clarity in his strategy and communication, and that caused a 20% correction in the market in a matter of 2 months. That was a man-made.
Yeah.
And even right now, like if we're just hoping there's opium right now that a deal is going to get finalized in a matter of weeks, not months. But like you said, Ben, like if this lasts into Q4, like this actually could be like GFC, like in 2008. Like this is something that can really blossom. No, I shouldn't say blossom, a worse word for blossom, but it could really stew up a major recession that's man-made, the first since World War II.
Yeah.
And I think Trump's ego is way too big for that. So like I think a lot of people are also underwriting that as well.
Yeah, that's the big issue for me. You know, I have a couple friends who are just hardcore like technicals charts guys who say, "Oh, I don't pay attention to the news. I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. It's all noise." To which I say, "I don't know how you trade like that. That's bananas to me, especially during a time like this." But yeah, the really interesting thing to me is how this just goes to show just how reckless and just dumb Donald Trump is. And it's that uncertainty that really gives me pause and really has me worried. Just the fact that this guy has no effing clue what he's doing, and just the doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on this strategy that is just, I mean, it's exhausting. I'm tired of talking about it because it's just been nonstop for the last month or two, however long it's been. But yeah, I mean, I love the things that you said in your letter. It was very well articulated. Just, you can't replace a fragile supply chain with chaos and call it resilience. You can't build American industry by torching the scaffolding that underpins capital flows. This wasn't rolled out as a comprehensive American renewal strategy. It wasn't coordinated with the Fed. It wasn't communicated clearly to the Treasury. It just was such a buckshot, shotgun approach that I think that they just assumed that the entire world would kowtow to us. And it seems to me, it just feels like there's a shift going on, and the rest of the world is kind of collectively going, you know what? Fuck you, America. Like, we don't need to,
Well,
you want to try to bully us? Like, because, we've been number one. We've been the king of the mountain since World War II. And I think, especially with someone with as much hubris as Trump at the helm, it doesn't bode well for America, and it doesn't bode well for American markets. I mean, it just feels bad. I've said it before, but it feels like it's finally coming to, it feels like we're near the end of Warren Buffett's never bet against America adage becoming obsolete. And it just kind of feels like we're entering into a decade or two of total unknowable unknowns,
well, he turned into the agent of chaos. Like there's strategies on when you're negotiating, like be that wild card, like act freaking crazy. So now you become unpredictable.
Sure.
But also like empires fall all the time. Like there's no reason that US like is always going to be number one. Like literally we could fall, especially when we're applying pressure and we're bluffing in a way, because this is a poker game. It's bluffing both sides. Your cards get revealed at a certain point. And if your cards get revealed that, oh, maybe US doesn't have as much leverage as everyone else, the narrative was like, now maybe we can strategically become apples to apples instead of just be at their realm like past like couple of decades. So that's the risk. And right now, China's calling our bluff. And if it lasts long enough and we fold, which it looks like we are, because Trump just watches the bond market, the 10-year yields at 5%. The world really knows what Trump's going to do. Like Trump has no autonomy at all. He's dictated by the bond market clearly, because when it skyrocketed, he obviously did a 180. So now he revealed his card. Like we know now, Japan and China, they can stop buying treasury yield, and now we're going to force the hand. Like that's the issue we're having played right now. And the poker game is kind of not as favorable on our side as we thought when we launched this game.
Yeah, it's interesting to look back at the last, I don't know, 10 plus years since he really entered from the fray into the running to run for president, and just kind of slowly took over the entire Republican Party, instilled fear in all of his would-be opponents. Everybody has bowed down to kiss the ring, and now it seems like everybody knows that if you go up against him and you challenge him, even from within his own cabinet, he's just going to fire you. So just having that for the last 10 years, it just fills me with a very specific type of dread that even if there are smart people in the room, they're going to be too afraid to tell him what he needs to hear, and would rather still tell him what he wants to hear, which is just, yes, sir, this is a great idea, sir, instead of, this is a total dipshit, ass backward, stupid, irresponsible, ignorant thing to do. America isn't a corporation. I mean, you can't run it like that. You can't go into it with these, your negotiating strategy of being a psycho might work when you're trying to build the Trump Taj Mahal on the Jersey Shore or in Atlantic City, wherever the hell that was, but not when you're contending with the biggest economy the world has ever seen.
Well, first off, like you're right that you can't treat the government like an enterprise, because guess what? If it wasn't for daddy's money, he'd file bankruptcy. You can't file bankruptcy as the US. Like, hey, like really you can't. So like his playbook isn't really efficient at the government scale. So that's the issue as well. Where if he fucks up, billions of people are going to be affected. Like what we're 20% of the world's GDP on demand, consumer demand. Like if he obviously turns that faucet off and causes a man-made recession, like the whole world's going to feel pain. It's all going to be dictated from this one person who became that wild card, like that Charlie and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That one episode where he's a wild card among the group and he jumps out of the van and cuts the brakes. Like that's like Trump right now, where he's not listening to anyone else and he's just becoming that wild card.
Sure. Well, let's switch gears, shall we? Tesla, you are a major Tesla guy, and I am not, mainly because I missed the entire thing, and due to that, I'm a little bitter. I don't give a shit. I'll say it. I'm bitter, not toward you, but just toward the company, because it doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, they were dropping going into earnings. They looked like crap going into earnings. I had put options. I lost on them. And then I hesitated on this week's 270 calls yesterday, which went from 10x or 15x. So that's great. But you are still gung ho on this thing, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I got into Tesla late as well. Like I think it was a year or 2 years ago. My cost is basis 160, so it's not even that much higher. Actually, it is higher now. But I bought
Wow.
a Tesla with an autonomy AI robotic vision, not because it's an EV company. And
Gotcha.
anecdotal evidence, like I was shopping for a car the past month and my fiance would not let me buy a Tesla. So like I know for a fact consumer trust is like eroded permanently potentially.
Right.
But you're seeing Elon cannibalize his EV, the automotive side of his business. Like he's okay with that because he wants to maximize autonomy. And if he solves autonomy at the scale that he envisions, which even if you hate Elon, like he's batting 100, guys. Like he has always fulfilled his vision. Timing's always off, but he's always hit a hundo. So if he does hit this autonomy vision, like it's a $10 trillion company because the Uber right now lifts like it's $2 a mile. Autonomy is 10 cents, 15 cents. So if you're a consumer, like my fiance, for example, like she hates Elon. So like if we do a ride sharing app and all of a sudden Uber's 25 bucks, but this cybercab is $3, like she doesn't hate him that much to overpay 10x. So that's like that's why he doesn't care about public perception as much. He just cares about technology vision. But I trimmed this week for the first time in a while on Tesla because it's eroding. The automotive side of business is eroding way quicker than I thought. I want to be thoughtful that we're going to see some FSD revenue this year, but I really don't think we're going to see it for another year, maybe even longer. If that's the case, it's a little like dead money when you have a $1 trillion company at 2% operating margin.
Mhm.
And I'm bullish on FSD and humanoids, but that revenue won't be flowing in anytime soon. So what's the bid going to be on the stock? Not it's just going to be revenue deceleration. Or you got news this week on Thursday where the first buddy Elon is obviously going to get helped by Trump, and they're deregulating autonomy, and that's going to streamline the process. But it's tricky because you just don't know when that's actually hit the fundamentals. And right now, I want to raise my cash positions with some markets bouncing. We're still below the 200-day moving average, so like I want to be somewhat defensive, raise my cash position again in case it's a lower high and we get a new low. And Tesla was a prime candidate because it's bouncing on a narrative. It's a story stock. Story stocks get destroyed on pullbacks clearly because there's no fundamentals to back it up, and that was one of the signs. And right, it went from a 7% position to a 4.5 to 5%, so it's not that drastic. But I downgraded it. It's more of my core, and so my bonsai, which my bonsai is my 5 or 6 names. I always like that's my bread. I'm gonna live or die off those 5 names because that's 50 or 60% of my portfolio. I own 19 names in total. So I downgraded them to a core, and I'm gonna let it play out now.
Interesting. You know, I've been an Elon skeptic for a long time, but not a hater until very recently. It was just always kind of like, I don't believe what this guy's saying. And also, I really started to dislike him when he started toying with the market and when he would just when he would talk shit about short sellers and accuse them of wanting to destroy the company. To me, it was just like a fundamental misunderstanding of what short selling is all about. I think he's attributing the likes of Citron and Hindenburg to blanket represent all of short sellers. Like, it doesn't mean that you're betting against it. If I'm shorting a stock, it doesn't mean that I think it's going to go to zero. It's because I'm making a trade, and I think maybe short term it's overvalued or what overextended, you name it. And that really rubbed me the wrong way, especially when you look at how much the very thing that he hated, short sellers, were a big part of what juiced the stock to begin with. Because, and I also didn't like that. I thought it was like blatant market manipulation. How he would just at the right times come in, and I don't even remember what the hell he tweeted over the years, but just stuff that would juice the stocks, saying things on conference calls that would, at the time when the market still trusted him 100%, when he would say FSD next year, for the last like 8 years, it would just juice it more. And then by the time that rolled around, it didn't matter because their numbers were starting to grow because they were selling more and more cars. My issue, and I think that the rest of the market is starting to wise up to this, in part because of the erosion of his not his brand, but just his trust, the erosion of our trust in him and what he says. I wonder, is there any part of you that's just like, I kind of don't believe what he says anymore, especially when it comes to FSD, especially when it comes these new things that are like, okay, now this is what the multiple is being attributed to. FSD, humanoids. He's still just kind of like kicking the can down the road. And when you compare it, especially FSD to like Waymo, they're both using totally different technologies, and Waymo is sweeping the floor with them. Like, how do you reconcile that?
Waymo's like BlackBerry, Tesla's like iPhone. Just think about like
Ooh.
that. Like, yes, like it looked like BlackBerry was owning the smartphone market because their ceiling was way lower than iPhone, higher floor. But long term, like it's a different sandbox. Waymo, like Waymo's stupid high expensive. Like remember that phrase that Elon used, like it's way mo expensive.
So clever of him.
So clever. But it's true. So like it's very nuanced in what they can actually solve. It's not scalable. So if Elon can actually solve his vision for autonomy, it's a completely different game changer. And that's probably why you saw Google kind of pull back a bit today when Tesla's just running. But also like you go back to like confidence in Elon, dude. I think everyone hated Zuck a couple years ago in 2022 or whatnot when spying, and like now people love him just because he altered some PR stint that altered his image and the way he spoke. Like that, it's very easy to earn. People forget the news cycle is just so aggressive because noise is constantly recycling on like worst case scenarios. There's something new that's going to happen in the news cycle. That if after the Trump presidency or even now, like after he leaves Doge, like if he stays quiet for like 6 months, like I really do think people are going to not forget, but like it won't be as much of a weight on people's memory on how bad Elon is, on his timing, his just being aggressive on like his policy. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad he put a timetable on coming back though. I think that's another reason why it's catching a bid. And it's tricky. I think it's more risky to say he's going to fail than succeed because he has no track record on failing. That's the issue as well.
True. Well, I mean, I would say the Roadster is a failure. The Cybertruck so far is kind of a failure in that it's not coming anywhere close to the numbers that he was projecting. I mean, the Roadster just never happened. They just took everybody's deposits, and
It still could happen. You never know. But
True.
yeah, you're right. I will say, you're right. I think you can't. I don't know if that's more on like first off, EV space is just like not what people thought it was going to become. That was like another thing where like this category they're in, EVs, like I think hybrids do the job for a lot of people. Like think about it, like first 60 miles is essentially electric on a hybrid. And people don't commute as far as they used to pre-COVID. So now like there really isn't an urgency to get EVs right now. So I think that is also part one component. Interest rates are stupid high as well. But yes, I will say like there's specific Apple essence on their car where Apple sucks at innovating and they can't sell their products latest and greatest. Like that is somewhat coming to light right now in Teslas. But I think it's also because he doesn't care anymore about the automotive side of the business. Like he's all about this autonomy.
yeah, it is interesting to see him totally nuke so much of his credibility. I personally do not think that he's got the capability to shut up for 6 months. I think he's such a malignant narcissist that he's gotta insert himself into every conversation, every cultural moment. I mean, he's got to be. I'm the best gamer. I'm the best Diablo player. I'm the best. He's just like, dude, relax. He's got how many damn kids does he have? 14? Christ. I don't know. I personally have Elon fatigue, and that's probably because I don't know, because there's something wrong with me too. I mean, there's a lot of things wrong with me, trust me. But anyway, I mean, he's making big claims. He's saying in June they're going to have autonomous driving in Austin. He's saying, he said on this is all from the earnings call, that they're going to hope to have 1 million Optimus robots sold by 2029. That gives him plenty of time to continue, spinning the narrative.
I mean, that alone is a 60 bill too, guys. So like, it is, if it could also turn into the margins right now suck. OEMs suck at gross margins, 20%. Like if he actually solves autonomy and humanoids, that's 60% gross margins, complete game changer. But yeah, I mean, the confidence, dude, it might be forever destroyed in some bases. Like you live in LA as well. Like I live there, and we see bumpers of bought this before Elon went crazy.
Right.
On Teslas everywhere. I think there might be a vibe like that forever. You just don't know.
True, but yeah, I do agree with you. Vibes can and do absolutely shift all the time. I think Elon would have to start getting into MMA and just stop being such a twat generally, and have a little bit more self-awareness, and just like a little bit of, even just, if I'm gonna speak to him directly in video game terms, like, you need to up your humility stats. Like, just tweak the knobs a little bit, man. Anyway, Goldman Sachs, actually, even in spite of the rosy claims that he's making on the call, they cut their target from 260 to 235, and they warned of downside risk to consensus estimates in the immediate term, given the higher costs and demand concerns. But like you said, I mean, maybe it's so hard to tell from week to week, day to day, month to month, what narrative is actually driving a stock. But I agree with you. It's clearly, because if it was sales, if it was the car thing, the stock should be down 20% because of how badly they missed on this quarter.
Well, if there's any kind of scenario that in 2026 there's FSD revenue flowing in their fundamentals, the FOMO, you guys have no idea how much.
Oh no, I agree.
Like it's gonna be wild. So like I think there might be some call. Like I don't know if the flow is an option. So like a lot of times when there's overly on calls, like right now in this bounce we're experiencing, Tesla's one of those names where they're just getting punched so hard that maybe this is an option, like not a short squeeze, but it's option flow driven, and that's why it's outperforming. But you're seeing this week was the first sign of like what we all assumed was going to happen in Trump-led presidency coming to a reality, that people are getting FOMO, a little FOMO behavior. And I think the issue for me and Tesla, it might just be dead money, but there also might be a really high flow in the stock where the narrative is narrative driven, and that narrative of humanoids, FSD, that won't go anywhere anytime soon. And because of that, it might never break 150, but also it might never break 300 or 350, because it's the automotive business is dying. So every month we get delivery numbers. That could be the anchor for any kind of bounce we see in Tesla.
That's a really, really good point and a really good observation. Yeah. What was that? Did you see the ad today for that Slate truck?
Jeff Bezos' new project.
That's Jeff Bezos?
Yeah, Bezos is. It's weird because like Rivian has a good partnership with Amazon. So like
yeah,
that's a new Amazon competing product. And I was telling Katie this on our show 2 days ago. Like it feels very Jeep-esque. This like brand, like it's very like Bronco, like Jeep, Wrangler, and I was like, oh, that's like very that's different than the Rivian, because like I think the women demo, Gen Zers, young millennials will love this.
Yeah. It actually gave me Chinese vibes in the sense that like, oh, finally, we've got some semblance of innovative capability in manufacturing prowess that puts us like, makes me feel like, okay, we're still in this fight with China. What was that? We're still capable of making stuff and making it cool. The fact that it's modular and there's all these different accessories that you can just add, it just felt like, okay, cool. This is like something I would see in China and be incredibly jealous of, you know?
I mean, I have no idea who wants to be an EV company right now, especially in this environment. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
But there's maybe a specific reason. I don't know. It's weird. It really is weird because why would Bezos back this when Amazon owns so much of Rivian? So much. I don't know what percentage. So like, in a way, this is Bezos doubling down on EV trucks. I'm like, is it that enticing enough, especially when you're going all in on going to space? Like, why are you focusing like this time and money on EVs? So like, I don't want to call it BS, but maybe he was just invested way early on. It's not recent and just using that as a PR stunt. Who knows?
I mean, I don't know if you saw the headline. I think it was today that he's pledging to use the vast majority of his wealth to fully combat climate change. So I don't know. Maybe he's
Interesting. He did that during. I think he just got married, so it's like, oh, I'm gonna lose a ton with my new wife. Might as well just like cut the arm off a little and just do some charity before I do that.
I mean, if I'm Jeff Bezos and I have enjoyed amassing tens of billions of dollars, he's done everything you can possibly do. He has won the game of life. He's maxed out his stats. He's got the super yacht. He's got the fucking rocket company. He's got his hot wife, his opinion, not mine. Why do I need to say that? I'm sure she's a lovely person. But I mean, at this point, you've got to. He's probably coming to some spiritual realization that, like, hey, you know, I only have a limited amount of time left. There is no way on God's green earth I could spend even a tenth of this wealth. If he dedicated every waking moment to trying to spend it, he wouldn't be able to. I'm sure you get bored at a certain point. So yeah, and it would probably feel really good on a spiritual level to like give back to the, I don't know, the country, the world, the human race that helped him reach these levels. Like, he probably is fearing for his soul at this point. Like, damn, I'm going to hell. Actually, probably I should fix my karma. That's what I'm thinking if I'm Jeff Bezos. Jesus. Well, anyway, speaking of Rivian, I actually think that their chart looks pretty good. They're bottoming out quite nicely. Let's see. Where are we today, though? We talked about tariffs. We had Monday, Trump calling Powell a loser. The market's dropping. Gold was going up. The dollar was dropping. It seems like everybody's losing faith in the American institution. And then I'm curious what you think about the very blatant, very obvious, like, insider trading going on, where we found out on Tuesday that Besant was telling institutional investors in these closed door meetings that the tariff standoff with China was unsustainable. And then, like, how does that make you feel?
Allegedly, you never know. But no, I mean, it's just the name of the game. Like, to be like, this is why retail is meant to lose this game. Like, it's unfortunate. Like, now, like, there's a new age of media where you're getting a lot of retail gets alpha in shows like this. There's a lot more tools that are accessible. Democratization of investing is absolutely real. The level of access that retail has was just unprecedented from like 10 years ago. Institutions used to have it behind paywalls. Now there's a hybrid out there. But I mean, there's ways of following. It's a little backwards looking, but there's ways of following like a lot of the insider holdings, like every 13F season, every quarter, like, oh, who owns what? And every time they make a big purchase, like Nancy Pelosi, the Pelosi tracker, like there is somewhat of like blind faith adoption. Like for Pelosi, like Tempest AI, for example. If you guys don't know what Tempest AI is, it was off a lot of people's radar until Pelosi bought it 3 months ago. And Pelosi buys companies that are like at least 50 billion plus. By Pelosi, I mean her husband, but essentially it's Pillow Talk, so it's Pelosi.
Sure.
This Tempest was a $3 billion company. It's like, oh, whoa. And Tempest's vision was always becoming the ChatGPT of medical history. And what was preventing them from like blowing up essentially was regulation. So if Pelosi's buying this and it's a $3 billion company outside of a realm of comfort of what kind of size of company, there's probably going to be something down the pipeline to incentivize healthcare AI. And I think that's why it caught a major bid. And even when it filled that gap, like it filled that gap, that Pelosi gap, a lot of people didn't really buy it because they had no conviction besides Pelosi adding it. So I think I'm not against it because we can that's just the name of the game. Capitalism isn't supposed to be fair, unfortunately. Uh, but I think it's funny that Trump was like throwing it out there, like hanging it that, oh, like maybe I remove this, trying to win back some of the sentiment he lost in the past 2 months because his approval ratings are just like I think it was like less than 35%. It was
Yeah, it's in the toilet.
it's in the toilet, so like, he's probably just doing some kind of statements to like bump that up, and deregulating insider trading is an easy one for him to say, but I think it will never go away.
Oh yeah, it seems. I mean, when he had that tweet, God, 2 weeks ago, it feels like months ago, and the market rallied, and he had tweeted, I think now's a good time to buy, whatever he said. Um, to me, that just gave him plausible deniability. If anybody, I don't know who's going to come after him, but I'm sure that his buddies and whoever fucking Barron Trump and his little buddies knew and just printed millions of dollars. And I agree with you that retail does have much more of an edge than ever before, and I'm all for that. It's just disheartening, and it's just a real bummer as an American and as a retail trader, and just as someone with a brain, to see this stuff just kind of happening out in the open, where it's just the tale as old as time. The haves and the have-nots. The rich get richer, and then you just have the blatant stuff like his Trump coin that we all just sort of accepted as being like, yeah, that's old Donnie boy, and it's like that is corruption on a level that's hard to
Well,
place because it's just unprecedented. And then now with this latest thing, because I believe the rule changed that coins without any utility are totally fine to be unregulated. I'm kind of butchering it, I'm sure, but so that left Trump in the clear. Like, okay, this coin has no utility. But then they announced this week that, oh, the top 250 holders of the coin are going to get access to Trump. That is, by definition, I believe, a form of utility. And the fact that the president of the, like, it's coinciding with the lockup period opening for because I mean, I know it's going to come in tranches, but the fact that insiders holding that coin are now going to be able to sell into this rally, it's just so, I was going to say un-American, but at the same time, it's the most American thing I've ever heard of.
well, you don't have kids, right?
No.
Okay, so I think it's gonna be really fun, not fun, funny.
Uh-huh.
When I have kids and like I'm 6 years old and they're in second grade U.S. history class, they're gonna read upon Trump's presidency that he shilled America with his coin, and that's
Yeah.
just gonna be part of like the Abraham Lincoln what he did for everything he did, George Washington, and then Trump doing this. Like it's just the evolution of like it's crazy that the president was able did that. First of all, I know it wasn't him; it was his sons that probably
Oh, for sure.
coerced him, and it was just like, "Daddy, please do this because you didn't show me enough love, so do it in this way," type of thing. But uh, dude, bag holders, like, he caught like, all the Patriots bought it, and now they're all bag holders. Same with the Elon, his wife's coin.
Melania coin.
Melania coin. That's even worse. Like, why did you do that? What was the urgency to do that? And that was funny because like that was the time. That was kind of the same similar time on the top of the market as well. So I think that was like maybe the first stage of like confidence eroding in this presidency, and it just escalated from there. But it is not a good look. And even right now, we were on the Daily Rip show a couple days ago. I think he said the top 220 holders of this coin will have a private dinner with him.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. And just speaking on the Barron Trump thing, I mean, I remember when the coin first launched, you could see right there on the chain who the top holders were, and they were holding tens of millions of dollars worth. And there were purchases that went through before it was publicly known. And I mean, if you believe that Barron or Trump himself didn't tell a couple of their friends, then I got a bridge to sell you, because it's absolutely going on. And there's just nothing that we can do about it. I mean, this coming from a guy who, I don't know if you've seen the kind of crap that Trump still sells. Like recently there was Trump sneakers, um, his gold watch for like $100,000, his Trump trading cards. I mean, it's almost, he's got a biblical level of grandiosity and narcissism, and I would think that especially the religious people who follow him, I would think that they would recognize that it is on par with being the Antichrist on such a level where I'm like, you guys don't even realize that he's got you just so tricked. It's kind of
Is he
it's
is
like
he the
the New
is he the
Testament
modern day
going
form
on
of
here.
Jesus then?
What's that?
Is he the modern day form of Jesus?
I don't know what he is, man. I mean, but I know the man is impervious to the law and is apparently immune to death also. Because he's already talking about Trump 2028. I mean, I just, in as much as I have Elon fatigue, I've just got Trump fatigue.
Well,
But
I
the
mean,
good news is today he said that he's, well, he waffled a bit because now he's saying he won't drop China tariffs unless they give us something. Give us what? Don't know. That remains to be seen. But everybody on StockTwits seems to be super bearish. The StockTwits community sentiment is at all-time highs, bearish. It continued to climb even as the market rallied. Oh boy, what else do we have? We should wrap it up, but yeah, we had Intel on Monday announced it was laying off 21,000 people. An absolute shiny, wet turd of an earnings report on Thursday, yesterday. Snowflake crushed earnings though, and I believe what the ticker symbol is net. What is that one?
so Snowflake has been reported. I think you're talking ServiceNow. They did
Oh
kill
yeah,
it.
ServiceNow. Excuse me.
Cloudflare is net, NET. They haven't really talked about it yet, but
It's
uh,
now. I was thinking of.
yeah, now. So I mean, ServiceNow, like they just, wow. I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of Doge is having a really big effect on software because clearly there's a lot of like these licensing model software companies like ServiceNow. Like there's a lot of like seats that just weren't being used. The point of Doge is eliminating those seats, but that's going to have somewhat of an effect on these revenue streams for these licensing models. So ServiceNow is got a hybrid consumption model now with their Raptor DB, which is their next gen database, but they're primarily a licensing model. So people are like selling that off post Doge, and they were fearful like the government side of their business was going to start eroding quicker than the tailwind of what agentic AI is going to do. This week we got proof in black and white, so that was like really important because confidence is lost on news with all the headlines, but earnings is something you can't just fudge up. It's black and white. It's concrete. So
True.
this week we saw signs that it's maybe not as bad at business spending isn't as bad as feared. Like it's everything's holding up a bit right now. And ServiceNow specifically is their government side of their business is growing 30%, which is ahead of estimates. So that Doge fear was way overestimated. And they're becoming like everyone knows them as an IT management, but like they're becoming the workflow engine of the next AI era. So the way everyone knows Palantir as the operating system of AI. So in a way of thinking about this is um, if your Palantir tells you what should I do, ServiceNow says, okay, go do that now. Like they're the workflow process, the second step. And they're always the blue chip SaaS company every earnings cycle. They're always the first one that reports. So that's why software got such a fat bid the past 2 days because they're showing that you can't just flip the switch off of Gen AI projects. Like you can't just like, if you have a $10 billion CapEx plan for this year and you're at $5 billion and this Terraform just got hit the headlines, like you can't just stop. You're just gonna have to like, if I stop, that first $5 billion I spend is gonna be sunken costs. And I don't know if my competitors are gonna do the same thing. So they might be ahead of me. And there's a fear of an arms race now all of a sudden. So that's why you're seeing signs of like maybe I think Dan Ives said this comment, which I agree with. The safety blanket of this environment might be software where that's not going to change much regarding the Terraforms. And we also got Google's earnings this week that showed like, wow, like that was a really strong print. Like everyone says that, their consumer side of the business is going to erode from AI because nobody does search, which I agree with. Like I don't use search as much anymore, but their infrastructure side is on fire. Google Cloud has a 50 billion run rate. That alone is a $1 trillion business, and they're trying to acquire Wiz and cybersecurity. Like I think this week was a great relief of like, things aren't as bad yet. Maybe it's gonna get worse, but as of right now, like we're not seeing it reflected, and that's why this earnings cycle might be somewhat of a savior where like not all heroes wear capes. Maybe earning cycle this go around is the hero that we all needed.
Interesting take. Yeah, I'm curious watching the antitrust thing going on with Google because
Mm.
they're getting attacked on two fronts with the ad tech business and the search monopoly. But we'll see. So let's wrap it up, shall we? I believe you've got some. Give us some stocks to watch there, Shay.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the core four infrastructure players of the next gen AI era is very real right now, and we're gonna start seeing more bids on those names. Like we have Palantir. Like Palantir's at the resilient stage two AI winner. Like even in this pullback, they were like by far the most relative strength. Like they are truly the intelligence layer of our future or
Hmm.
operating system. So like this is a name. It's a little too late to get into. Like I became very overweight in this name. Like a lot of like the dumb money out there in FinTway like a couple years ago, and now there's no urgency to get in. But guess what? This is a perfect example of how investors are changing. And dumb money was ahead on Palantir, but now institutions or smart money are
Yeah.
forced to pay the premium that dumb money didn't have to, and they're the
Mm.
ones buying up above $100. So that's one name. Second one is Snowflake, like you mentioned, like earlier, where I think this is the one name that has the greatest risk and reward out there because the whole narrative on them is AI is going to cannibalize them as a data warehouse company. I was like, that's ridiculous. Like
Mm.
40% of the Fortune 2000 data customers use them, so their data is stored into their ecosystem. It takes 12 to 18 months to migrate your data out of their ecosystem. They're not going to do that because there's no better alternative source. Like Databricks is great, but like it's not that drastically better for you to handcuff yourself for a year to 18 months. So they're going to leverage that data advantage they have into some kind of go-to-market AI product. And their new CEO that they got a year ago is the perfect captain of that ship because when Sam Altman had that incest news a year or two ago about his sister, like there was rumors of him getting fired. This Snowflake CEO right now was on the short list to take over OpenAI. So he
Wow.
knows AI and he's perfectly positioned as he's positioning Snowflake as like the leader of that data backbone of the enterprise AI. So I think this has the biggest risk and reward that hasn't gotten re-rated yet, but it's kind of slowly turning that narrative. And then you mentioned Cloudflare, NET, like this is one name that's always been expensive, but they they are becoming I coined this reference for them. They're the AWS of the new modern internets because AI agents are going to be doing everything for everyone. So when AI agents talk to each other, the latency between each other is so important. And everyone knows Cloudflare as this content delivery network or CDN, which if you guys probably aren't aware, but like every website you guys go on, like it's powered by Cloudflare essentially.
Mhm.
They have a monopoly in what they do. And if AI agents become a reality and not just a reality, structural change across every industry, they're positioned to become the AWS that even Amazon can't do, Microsoft, Google's. Like this is a mega cap, in my opinion, in the making. It might take some time to get there because they're like 100 times EBITDA multiple. But during this pullback, like these are the this is the type of name where you'd add at $80, maybe not all in, but like you have to have a position in these kind of monopolies in early disruptors and these secular growth themes with plenty of runway. And my fourth one is CrowdStrike. I mean, that was my number one position during the outage last summer. So like I had some sleepless nights of like losing 40, 50K in one night. Like I've never done that before. It was pretty disgusting. But that was a moat check, a gut check, because they essentially stopped the world from working for a couple hours.
I remember.
And then the world was like, wait, a $50 billion company is this important where the whole world stopped? That's when I was like, oh, whoa, I didn't realize how much the world relies on them as this endpoint security solution. But really, they're this full stack cybersecurity platform now. And even after that F up, they had 3% churn on the customers. Their customers did not leave. So that shows to me and also the Wall Street that all their customers are kind of priced into their ecosystem. They won't leave. Even if they messed up the way they did, they're not leaving. So that shows they have a massive moat. And cybersecurity is one of those themes that have a ton of runway because data is going to explode in the agentic AI future we're about to enter. What do you have to do with that data? You have to protect it. So that's the stickiest component of any IT budget. So when you're in a recessionary environment, this is the last lever that gets pulled in cutting your IT budget because you need security.
Right.
And this is the tier one play. So like these four names are infrastructure plays, and you're gonna see all this like narrative, like, oh, they're an AI winner, they're gonna be an AI beneficiary, but that's gonna be short-lived. There's gonna be an AI tsunami that will hit the software space because it's gonna be very easy to replicate products, which is why I don't like Datadog anymore. But that's why you have to be very selective in the infrastructure players that won't go away, like the Amazons and Googles of the .com era. I believe these four will be that of the AI era.
Interesting. Yeah, I've been following the narrative about agentic AI names. My timeline is a little cloudy though. I just have no idea when I should start buying any of these. But that's I didn't know that about Snowflake and about Cloudflare. So I'm gonna look into those. My picks. Your boy got a little bit of Weight Watchers as a stupid trade because that thing was trading for nothing. And no, I am not a penny stock guy, but I bought Weight Watchers because it's literally like, I don't know, 30 cents or something shy. And I don't know if you saw, but there's a, the ticker symbol is just WW. There was an activist investor who made a filing basically saying it's WW International, that first one. He put out a filing saying, hey, I disagree with you guys filing for bankruptcy. You definitely don't need to file for bankruptcy. There's still plenty of skin on the bone here. The debt isn't due until like 2028 at least. So I bought this. I don't even know why I'm mentioning it. It makes me lose credibility because I do not touch this kind of crap mostly. Otherwise, what are my picks?
I feel like you're gonna say 23andMe or something as your next name after telling
Heck
me
no.
about
Oh my God.
Weight
Damn that
Watcher.
company. They still try to tell me that I've got genetic, hey, we found another long lost cousin. Shut up. I don't need any more cousins. I don't have very many, but yeah, I'm just kind of I sold. I got flat on my Reddit because they've got earnings coming. I'm short a little bit of booking.com, which I'm a little scared about because the chart looks pretty strong going into earnings, but I'm seeing a lot of headlines about people dramatically cutting back on travel, so we'll see there. I will probably lose on that. And yeah, I don't really have a lot else going on. Let's see. I've got oh boy, what else do I have here? Oh, this is riveting stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I've been flat. Oh, Magnite, MGNI
Oh,
is an advertising
some sell
agency
side,
name.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think that could get pretty interesting. I'm underwater on it right now, but I think that could get interesting, especially as the Google antitrust case progresses, because currently Google, I think they've got a command over like 87% of the ad space tech market. So if they do get broken up, that could bode well for the likes of Magnite, Trade Desk, and a bunch of others. But anyway, folks, the Cashtag Awards are next week. There are still just a few general admission tickets left. If you go to cashtag.stocktwits.com, we will be there live in New York City next week. And we'd love to see you there. And Shay, thank you so much for joining, man. Give a plug, give a shout out. Where can people find you and whatnot?
Yeah, at Stock Savvy Shay. Definitely, I'm very active there. Started 2 years ago. I post every day because I hate sleep, clearly. So, if not, I do go on TV every couple of weeks. So if you watch CNN or Fox Business, like you'll see this little schmuck smile on there, and I'm obviously the kid among the group, so I stand out a bit. So you can find me there. But X is my only social media. I don't even have the Gram. I don't have Facebook.
Wow.
I have LinkedIn, but I don't update it. But yeah, find me on X.
Jesus, Shay. Well done, man. Thanks for joining us, and I'll probably see you in New York.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, folks. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.